WWE SmackDown results, the 2nd of March 2023. The post-Royal Rumble edition of WWE SmackDown on Fox opens up with a look back at how Sami Zayn turned on undisputed WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble. Kayla Braxton is now outside of the Bon Secours Wellness Arena in Greenville, South Carolina, waiting on the Bloodline. A SUV pulls up and out comes the Bloodline, Reigns, undisputed WWE Tag Team Champion Jimmy Uso, Solo Sikoa, and Paul Heyman. Braxton asks Reigns about the status of Jey Uso, but Reigns and the others just keep walking. Heyman stops at Braxton and says that was such a cold-blooded question from such a warm-hearted lady, but at this time they cannot confirm or deny the status of Jey in the Bloodline. Heyman thanks Braxton for wearing their colors tonight, red and black. He then follows the others into the arena. We're now live from inside the Bon Secours Wellness Arena in Greenville as the pyro goes off and Michael Cole welcomes us. He's joined at ringside by Wade Barrett, no sign of Pat McAfee yet. They say Roman Reigns will give a State of the Bloodline address tonight. Number 1 Contenders Tag Team Tournament Finals, Giovanni Vinci and Ludwig Kaiser vs Braun Strowman and Ricochet. We go right to the ring for the tournament finals to determine new number 1 contenders to undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions, the Usos, for a future shot at the SmackDown Tag Team titles on next week's show. Ricochet and Braun Strowman are out first. We see Ricochet's Royal Rumble collision with Logan Paul. The music hits and out next comes Imperium, Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci with WWE Intercontinental Champion Gunther, as Samantha Irvin does the introductions. The bell rings and Strowman locks up with Vinci, but Strowman shoves him away and then poses with a growl. Kaiser tags in but Vinci comes from behind to grab his leg. Strowman fights them both off, then they retreat to the floor to regroup with Gunther. Ricochet tags in and Kaiser comes back in at the 6 count. Ricochet with a dropkick, but Kaiser works him over and drops him with a right hand. Ricochet with a jawbreaker. Vinci distracts Ricochet from the apron, allowing Kaiser to level him and turn it around. Strowman runs over Vinci at ringside, then backs Gunther away. Strowman and Gunther have words at ringside now, but Gunther is backing away. Vinci tries to attack from behind, but Strowman turns around to cut him off. Strowman scoops Vinci, but Kaiser leaps off the top turnbuckle to take him down on the floor. Gunther barks orders at ringside as we go to commercial. Back from the break and Imperium is in control. Kaiser tags back in and works Strowman over, focusing on his knee. Vinci tags right back in and keeps Strowman down. Vinci grounds Strowman, preventing a tag. Strowman with a big backdrop and a tag to Ricochet. Ricochet flies off the top with a crossbody and a big kick to Vinci. Ricochet with a running crossbody in the corner, then a kick from the apron. Ricochet with a flying forearm off the top, then a standing shooting star press for 2 as Gunther looks unworried. Vinci fights off Ricochet's shoulders and pulls him by his beard, then into the ring post shoulder first. Kaiser tags in and Ricochet avoids the double team in the corner. Ricochet levels Kaiser with a springboard back elbow. Strowman comes in and Vinci is sent out, back into the announce table. Ricochet runs and Strowman launches him out of the ring to take their opponents down on the floor. Ricochet gets up and argues with Gunther. Ricochet shoves Gunther, and he strikes back. The referee ejects the ring general to a pop, but he is not happy. Strowman yells at Gunther as he backs up the ramp to the back. Ricochet kicks Vinci back into the announce table from the apron, but Kaiser levels him with a clothesline for a close 2 count as we go back to commercial. Back from the break and Ricochet unloads on Kaiser to put him down in the corner to a pop. Vinci tags in for the double team. They then double drop kick Strowman off the apron and Vinci covers Ricochet for a close 2 count. Vinci shows some frustration now. Vinci and Kaiser go for the Imperium bomb, but Ricochet fights them off. Vinci is sent to the floor. Ricochet counters Kaiser. Vinci comes back and they double team Ricochet in their corner. Vinci catches Ricochet in midair for a brainbuster for 2 as Strowman pulls Vinci out of the ring to break the pin. Strowman returns to the apron to rile the crowd up now. Kaiser and Strowman are in now. Strowman runs over Kaiser a few times, then launches him across the ring. Vinci attacks but Strowman drops him with ease. Kaiser stuns Strowman but Braun comes right back with a big clothesline. Strowman calls for the monster bomb to Kaiser and he nails it in the middle of the ring. Strowman goes to the corner so Ricochet can climb to his shoulders. Ricochet leaps off Braun's shoulders with a big senton to Kaiser for the pin to win. Winners and new number 1 contenders, Braun Strowman and Ricochet. After the match, the music hits as Strowman and Ricochet celebrate. We go to replays. The announcers confirm Strowman and Ricochet versus undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions, the Usos, with just the SmackDown Tag Team titles up for grabs on next week's show. Cole sends us to a video package on the Women's Royal Rumble, with a focus on winner Rhea Ripley and her dominance. We also see the Raw segment where Ripley challenged SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte Flair to a match at WrestleMania 39. Kayla Braxton is backstage with Charlotte Flair now. Kayla asks about WrestleMania 39 and Flair says the match with Rhea Ripley will be epic, but tonight her focus is on Sonya Deville. Flair goes on about how you can't ignore someone as persistent as Deville, but tonight we're in Charlotte, NC, and Deville interrupts and knocks the local fans. She promises to win the title and go on to defend against Ripley at WrestleMania 39 because Hollywood needs a star. Flair tells Deville to save her trash talking for the ring. Back from a break and we see stills from the Royal Rumble. We see how Rey Mysterio and WWE NXT Tag Team Champions The New Day were with NASCAR's Clint Bowyer at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum on Thursday night. Dominic Mysterio, Finn Balor and Damian Priest interrupted, and they had words. This led to a father versus son race around the track, which Rey won by a half-car length. Dominic yelled at his dad after the race and threw a helmet at him, saying he cheated and the result would have been different as Rhea Ripley was there. The two sides get into it but race officials have to pull them apart. SmackDown Women's title match: Sonya Deville vs Charlotte Flair. We go back to the ring for tonight's title match as challenger Sonya Deville makes her way out. Back to commercial. Back from the break and out comes SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte Flair as the pyro goes off. Flair marches to the ring and poses as fans cheer. Irvin does formal ring introductions. The bell rings and they size each other up as fans woo. In the crowd, they lock up and Flair nails a takedown, then a shoulder tackle and some trash talking. Flair dodges a lockup and takes Deville down from behind for a quick 1 count. Flair works on the arm now. They tangle and Flair gets sent to the apron, but she kicks Deville with a big boot to the face. Flair goes to the top for a crossbody but Deville kicks out at 2. Deville sends Flair face first into the top turnbuckle but Flair sends her to the prong when she charges in. Flair rocks Deville and grabs the arm but Deville slams her head first back into the mat. Deville stands tall on the apron as we go back to commercial. Back from the break and Deville has dominated off the break. Flair with a roll up for 2 but Deville drops her again for a pin attempt of her own. Deville shows some frustration on the mat. Fans rally as Flair fights up. They tangle in the corner and into the turnbuckles. Deville takes the knee out but misses the follow-up. Flair decks Deville with a forearm, then a clothesline. Flair with several big chops in the middle of the ring now. Flair with a back suplex and a kip up for a big pop. Flair with big kick and more offense but she can't put Deville away. More back and forth now. Deville fights Flair off but Flair tosses her to the apron. Deville dodges a big boot, hanging Flair up on the top rope with her leg. Deville takes advantage, yanks Flair onto the top rope, then nails a pump kick for a close 2 count. Deville shows some frustration now. Devil charges but Flair rocks her in the corner with a backbreaker. Devil dodges a big boot. Devil kicks Flair down to one knee. Devil goes to the middle rope and nails a flying knee for another close 2 count. Devil calls for the figure 4 but Flair cradles her for a 2 count. Flair charges but Devil sends her face first into the turnbuckle. Devil charges but Flair meets her with a clothesline for 2. Flair drags Devil to the corner and goes to the top for the moonsault. Devil gets her feet up, then rolls Flair up using the ropes for leverage but she kicks out at 2. Devil tries for the figure 4 again but Flair kicks her away. Right angle again and Flair applies the figure 4 in the middle of the ring as fans pop. Flair bridges into the figure 8 and Devil taps out for the finish. Winner, Charlotte Flair. After the match, Flair stands tall as the music hits. We go to replays. Flair continues her celebration in front of the hometown crowd. Cole sends us to a video package on Cody Rhodes' Royal Rumble win. The Bloodline is backstage now, and the mood is tense. Roman Reigns asks Jimmy Uso about where Jey Uso is. Jimmy doesn't know. Reigns asks if he's talked to Jey. Jimmy says he never heard from his brother. Reigns asks if the others think this is disrespectful like he does. Reigns says not only does Jey walk out but he doesn't care enough to communicate. He says it's one thing to walk out but to not hear from Jey for an entire week. Reigns asks Jimmy if they have a title match next week, and says it doesn't make any sense for Jey to walk out on his obligations. Reigns asks Jimmy again, have you talked to your brother? No. Jimmy says Jey will be there. Reigns needs to chill out. Reigns says Jey may be there for Jimmy, but what about all of us? What about the entire bloodline? Reigns asks Solo Sikoa if he's talked to his brother. Solo just stares head. Jimmy says if he hasn't talked to Jey, no one has. Reigns says he doesn't think everyone understands the urgency that is needed here. Reigns asks Wise Man if this is not WrestleMania season. Yes it is, my tribal chief. Reigns looks at Jimmy, who is on the couch next to him, and says he won't find Jey on the couch. Reigns wants to know where Jey is, so find him now. The Brawling Brutes vs the Viking Raiders. We go back to the ring for tag team action as the Brawling Brutes are out first, Ridge Holland and Butch. They hit the ring and pose as Cole sends us to Black History Month video package on NXT Tag Team Champion Kofi Kingston. Back to commercial. Back from the break and out comes the Viking Raiders, Eric and Ivar with Valhalla. We see how Eric and Ivar recently attacked Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. The bell rings and Butch locks up with Ivar but Ivar takes it to the corner. Butch fights out of the corner but Ivar unloads with body shots back into the corner. Ivar launches Butch headfirst into the middle turnbuckle. Eric tags in to take over on Butch but he runs into Boots. Butch ties Eric up and starts bending his fingers. Holland tags in and splashes Eric in the corner, then nails a flying shoulder tackle. Eric clubs Ridge with a big right hand. Holland blocks a shot and delivers a long vertical suplex in the middle of the ring. Holland knocks Eric to the apron as Butch runs in and knocks Ivar to the floor off the apron. Butch and Holland deliver stereo 10 beats of the bodhrán to Eric. Butch unloads to beat Eric down on the apron, then kicks him to the floor. Butch launches himself over the top rope to the floor but Eric moves and he lands hard. Valhalla gets in Butch's face now as the referee warns her. Eric takes advantage of the distraction and sends Butch headfirst into the barrier, then levels him with a stiff shot at ringside. Eric growls at the camera while Butch is down at his feet on the floor. Back to commercial. Back from the break and Butch fights Eric from the apron. Holland tags in and launches Eric with a big T-bone suplex, and another. Holland with a third big suplex. Holland gets riled up in the corner and charges but Eric kicks him. Ivar tags in and kicks Holland, then goes for a pile driver. Holland blocks it and nails an Alabama slam in the middle of the ring. Ivar kicks out at 2. Ivar rams Holland back into the corner and delivers stiff back elbows to the head. Butch tags in and nails an enziguri to Ivar from the apron. Butch drops Ivar in the corner. Holland comes in, but he also eats an enziguri but comes right back with a lariat to turn Butch inside out. Eric with a big knee strike for 2. Ivar tags back in and Eric hands Butch to him for the middle rope powerbomb. Holland pulls Eric to the floor but Eric rams him into the barrier. Butch fights Ivar up top and brings him to the mat with a big hurricane runner as Valhalla looks on. Ivar kicks out at 2. Butch goes back to the top from Salt but Ivar blocks it, catching Butch on his shoulders for a power slam, but Butch transitions into a sleeper on his back. Ivar backs into the corner so Eric can tag in, and he knocks Butch off Ivar's back. Ivar goes to the floor and levels Holland at ringside with a big spin kick in front of the announcers. The Vikings both are in now as they stare down at Valhalla, then drive Butch into the mat with Ragnarok for the pin to win. Winners, the Viking Raiders. After the match, the Viking Raiders stand tall as the music hits. We go to replays as Valhalla enters the ring to join Eric and Ivar. The Vikings are on the stage now heading to the back when Drew McIntyre's music hits and out he comes with Sheamus. Sheamus and McIntyre unload on Eric and Ivar on the entranceway, sending them into the set and lighting. They send the Vikings to the back, then come back out and pose to a pop. Cole sends us to a video package of highlights from the Mountain Dew pitch black match at the Royal Rumble, which saw Bray Wyatt defeat LA Knight. Wyatt is backstage sitting in his rocking chair now. Uncle Howdy appears next to him, but he's standing up and we can't see his face. Howdy places his hand on Wyatt's shoulder, and Wyatt looks up at Howdy. Howdy suddenly leans over and looks at the camera as we abruptly cut back to the ring. Women's Elimination Chamber qualifying match, Shayna Baszler vs Shotzi vs Zelina Vega vs Natalya. We go back to the ring for tonight's qualifier for the Women's Elimination Chamber match to determine the WrestleMania 39 opponent for Raw Women's Champion Bianca Belair. Out first comes Shotzi in her tank. Back to commercial. Back from the break and we see more stills from the Royal Rumble. We go back to the ring and Natalya, Zelina Vega and Shayna Baszler are out. The bell rings and Natalya attacks Baszler. Shotzi sends Vega to the floor. Natalya knocks Shotzi away and goes back to stomping on Baszler. Baszler rolls Natalya for 2. Shotzi drops Natalya and runs the ropes but Vega trips her from the floor. Vega pulls Shotzi out and sends her into the barrier. Vega comes in and rolls Natalya up for 2. We see Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez watching backstage as Natalya and Vega go at it in the middle of the ring. Liv avoids the discus clothesline and hits the destroyer for a 2 count as Baszler breaks the pin up. Baszler with a side slam to Vega. Baszler with a backbreaker to Shotzi as she charges in. Baszler stands on Shotzi's head and bends the arm back but Natalya drops her from behind. Natalya sends Baszler to the apron but Baszler kicks her. Vega pulls Baszler to the floor but Baszler drops her at ringside. Baszler comes right back in and delivers a big knee strike to Natalya's face for a close 2 count. Baszler stands tall and poses to boos as we go back to commercial. Back from the break and Baszler has dominated since the commercial. Baszler works Shotzi over but misses the elbow stomp. Shotzi rolls her up for 1. Shotzi with a kick and a knee strike, then more strikes to bring Baszler to a knee. Shotzi with the splash to Baszler's back, sending her to the floor. Shotzi runs the ring for a suicide dive to Baszler on the floor. Vega goes to the top and leaps out with a moonsault to take Baszler and Shotzi down at ringside. Natalya comes out and rocks Vega, then rolls Shotzi back in. Natalya takes Shotzi down for the sharpshooter and locks it in the middle of the ring. Vega breaks it up with the bulldog. Shotzi with a big suplex to Vega. Baszler with a German suplex to Shotzi. Baszler goes for the Kirifuda clutch to Vega, ragdolling her now. Vega starts to fade but Natalya swings a discus clothesline and Baszler dodges it, then applies the Kirifuda clutch to Natalya. Natalya sends Baszler to the floor. Natalya applies the sharpshooter to Vigo in the middle of the ring for the pin to win and advance to Elimination Chamber. Winner, Natalya. After the match, Natalya stands tall and celebrates as her music hits. She joins Morgan, Rodriguez, Asuka and Nikki Cross as confirmed entrants in the chamber. The final spot will be determined on Raw with Carmella vs Mia Yim vs Candice LeRae vs Piper Niven. The Bloodline is backstage. Paul Heyman tells Roman Reigns that Jey Uso's phone is going to voicemail, and Jimmy Uso has had no luck calling him either. Reigns just doesn't understand. Of all the times for this to happen, it happened when they were doing so good, no problems, no hiccups. Reigns asks if they know how much he has on his plate, if they understand the stress and burden of his position. Jimmy nods. Reigns feels like he's being pulled in two different directions, like he's being spread too thin right now. Reigns says he loves them and he apologizes for speaking the way he did earlier. Jimmy says don't worry about it. Reigns says he needs them and he needs us to be as strong as we've ever been because if we're not, there's no more of this. Reigns holds up his one. Reigns says Heyman had sushi and steaks sent to the bus, so he wants Jimmy and Solo Sikoa to go have dinner while he goes to the ring to handle business. He asks if they understand, and they nod. Reigns tells them to enjoy, and he will get up with them later. Jimmy thanks Heyman, then exits with Sikoa. Back to commercial. Back from the break and announced for next week is Rey Mysterio vs Karrion Kross vs Santos Escobar vs Madcap Moss to determine the new number one contender to WWE Intercontinental Champion Gunther. We go back to the ring and out comes undisputed WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman to cheers and boos. Reigns stops and poses on the stage as the pyro hits. Reigns then marches to the ring and raises his finger in the air. Reigns goes on and more pyro explodes as he looks to the crowd. The music stops but before Reigns can speak a Sami chant starts for Sami Zayn. Reigns calls on Greenville to acknowledge him and it sounds like most cheer. Fans chant Sami again and Heyman looks a bit concerned. Reigns was going to ask who they want him to talk about but it's pretty obvious. Reigns says he would rather talk about Cody Rhodes, the guy who won the Royal Rumble, the number one contender, someone who actually deserves his attention. Fans boo. Reigns says but you simple folks have reduced me to talking about the past. A Sami chant starts back up. Reigns says fine, he will talk about Sami but remember there are two sides to every story and we're going to hear his. Reigns goes back to War Games, when he looked Sami in the eye and told everyone he saw everything he needed to see. He says he saw greed, the same thing he sees with every person he interacts with these days. Reigns goes on about how if a restaurant is lucky to have him these days, the entire staff says they want this or that, not what can we do for you. Reigns says he did the same for Sami. He gave him the opportunity of a lifetime but Sami just used him, used his bloodline, and used his island of relevancy, no different than you fans because all you do is want, you can never give back. A man in all black and a hoodie suddenly drops Reigns from behind. The man stands up and takes the hoodie off, it's Zayn. Fans go wild. Sami picks Reigns up but Reigns fights back and delivers knee shots to beat him down. Reigns stomps away on Sami as fans boo now. Reigns has Heyman hand him a steel chair. Heyman tells Reigns to end Sami. Reigns goes to swing the chair but Sami cuts him off with a spear. Sami is fired up as the crowd erupts, and chants Sami again. Sami swings the chair but Reigns quickly rolls out of the ring. A shocked Reigns looks on from the ramp as Heyman joins him. Sami screams Reigns' name and says he was wrong. Sami never wanted anything from Reigns until now. Sami wants something from Reigns now and he's going to take it because he's coming for Reigns and the undisputed WWE Universal title. Fans pop big. Sami turns around to undisputed WWE Tag Team Champion Jimmy Uso leveling him with a superkick. Solo Sikoa joins in and they beat Sami down. Sikoa with a Samoan spike. Reigns slowly makes his way back to the ring. Sikoa beats Sami down in the corner. Jimmy wraps a chair around Sami's neck in the corner now. Solo charges for the Umaga splash into the chair but Reigns stops him. Reigns looks down at Sami and asks him if he wants something. A "We want G" chant starts up now. Reigns asks Sami if he hears that. Reigns says he doesn't have G because Sami broke up his bloodline. His right-hand man isn't here because of Sami. Reigns goes on in Sami's face about how he broke his family up. Reigns is going to give Sami what he wants, but he wants Sami at WWE Elimination Chamber in Montreal. Reigns says Sami broke up his family so he wants to destroy Sami in Montreal, in front of all his family, his friends, his child and everyone else close to him. Reigns mushes Sami's face down in the corner as fans boo. Reigns says he will see Sami in Montreal. Reigns grabs the title belts and taunts Sami with them. Reigns raises the titles in the air now as his music hits. Zayn is still down in the corner as Reigns talks trash about Sami to the crowd. The post-Royal Rumble edition of SmackDown on Fox goes off the air.